Welcome to Freethinkers Fireside, where we put the human in humanness, one cozy chat at a time. My name is Helen, also known as Hell's Bells. So before we get to the guest tonight, I have a little thing that I'm working on with the people at Skeptic Haven. So I'm going to share a little bit about that. So buckle up, everybody. It's spooky season. All right, let me go ahead and do that.
Boo! On October 24th at 7 p.m. Central, Skeptic Haven's throwing a spooktacularly silly Halloween fundraiser for the one and only Sadie Herbert, the interdimensional cosmic Kyle, and the delightfully chaotic Ember. We'll debunk ghosts, roast candy corn, and maybe summon a rational spirit or two. Bring your brain, your bucks, and zero tolerance for haunted Ouija boards. Donate, laugh, and help us keep skepticism spooky fun.
Okay, so so if you guys are not doing anything on the 24th, please come down to Skeptic Haven. We're going to be having a fundraiser for 3 people that are very wonderful and part of this community. They're going through some personal struggles, so we're going to do a personal fundraiser. If you would like more information, just contact me. You can email me over there, or you can just slide into my DMs. And that being said, but please stop by this fundraiser. We're going to have like Neil 64 Atheist, John Gleason, Mikey, a few other wonderful Secular Rarity is going to be there. So we'll have a lot of really wonderful people in the community. And I am going to do an unbaptism. So if you want to be unbaptized, and I know you do, you want to stop by the fundraiser, because I can do that for you. Anyway, let me introduce my guest. She is a volunteer for Recovering from Religion, and I'm a documentary filmmaker, and also a wonderful, delightful human being, Lindsey Doolittle. So let's say hi to Lindsey. Hi, Lindsey. Hello.
Cool person. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome to the show. So for those of you that do not know you, who are you? What do you do in this community? Who you be?
Who am I? Let's see. I guess first, I am someone who lost their husband to suicide. This is kind of how everything has catapulted me where I am today. I always say there's the before it all happened and then the after it happened. So my husband died by suicide 10 years ago this year. We were both closeted atheists.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a police officer for the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department. He was a district commissioner for the Boy Scouts of America, and he didn't want either one of them knowing he was an atheist. I don't blame this on his death, but he had a lot of secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And so after his death, that is when I'd never grasped the grief and loss world, how heavily embedded they were with religion. And when he died, people were telling me he was burning in hell. Some people were telling me he was looking down on me. And I was like, oh, which one is it? You know? And I joined a support group for those who are bereaved by suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And they were wonderful. They were my lost family. And I still think of them as that. I became a board member here in Kansas City to this suicide loss support group. And I also help facilitate the support group meetings. But things changed when we would always have this annual walk in here in Kansas City for lost survivors. And I had suggested, instead of doing a prayer at the walk, that we have a moment of silence instead. And you would have thought I had asked them to cut off their limbs. I still have their terrible emails from the board members.
Wow.
And it was so
Wait a minute. You asked for a moment of silence.
yeah, how about instead of us praying to the crowd, we would have a
Right.
chaplain do a prayer to the crowd, and the chaplain was also on our board. It was really difficult for me to say this.
Right.
I loved everybody, and I didn't want to. It was me being a closeted atheist, but I was putting the lost survivor first here. I wanted us to put the lost survivor first. And I suggested, hey, instead, let's do a moment of silence instead of a prayer. And that is when things changed. There was a shift in how I was treated. People were really upset that I brought this up. And I stayed on the board for a couple of years after that, but we would still do this prayer at the walk. And that's when Dr. Darrell Ray with Recovering from Religion, I met him at Oasis, which is a community with no religion. And he told me, we want you. Maybe they don't want you, but we want you, Lindsey. And would you be part of Recovering from Religion? And I didn't know if I would be, like this. I didn't come out of a religion, but he said, you absolutely belong. And so I help co-facilitate the support group for people who've been bereaved by suicide. And we do it once a month, the second Tuesday of each month from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. And I ended up leaving that support group here in Kansas City, and now I'm with Recovering from Religion. I've been there for a couple years now.
So what? So you were never religious at all?
No.
No, you've always been. So was your husband, before he passed, did he come from religion, or he was also secular, like grew up secular?
Yeah, he was First Nation, and but no, he grew up secular, and but yeah, that he was always just atheist.
So because of that, and being around people that had like the belief that, their loved one was in heaven or hell or purgatory, Catholics believe in purgatory. So like, suicide is supposed to be one of the worst things that can happen, but extenuating circumstances, because God is, apparently reasonable when it comes to taking your own life. You can end up in purgatory. That's kind of one of the, like a Catholic belief. But you were, didn't believe in anything. So was it awkward being a part of that group? Like being like, well, I want to respect your belief that you think your loved one is in the happy place or the bad place. But at the same time, I have to imagine, because to like pretend to a certain degree or be respectful to a certain degree on somebody's beliefs where you're not holding the same sort of position, where all you have is memory. So,
well, the support group that I was with, they did not have those beliefs. We were, it seemed like the people that were outside of the support group. I was getting people that, even at the funeral, I had somebody come up to me and tell me my husband was burning in hell. I think that's
fucked up. I'm sorry. That's so fucked up. Like, even if you're not a believer, it's still fucked up.
I
thank you so much at the worst part of my worst possible moment of my life. Thank you for telling me my husband is burning in hell. It's so gross.
I had several people tell me he was burning in hell.
I know.
But no, like meeting other people in the support group, hearing they were being told the same things. And I really felt for people who were religious in the support group that some of their churches turned their backs on them. And, people were blaming, it's the blame game,
Yeah.
If you're the spouse, you're being blamed. If you weren't married or had a partner in your life, then the parents are being blamed, that you drove them to their death. I was blamed by an entire police department. My marriage was blamed in a police report and an autopsy report. So the blame game was very prevalent. It's super prevalent to this day. So I mean, I was feeling for a lot of people in the support group, but no, like I was just bringing it up for our walks that hey, not everybody believes in the same God or has, you know,
Mhm.
beliefs, and how about we do a moment of silence instead of a prayer for everybody that attends the walks. And yeah, that did not go over very well.
Yeah. So why? So, it wasn't specifically religious, was it? This was just anyone that had lost someone to suicide, right? And just because you're like, hey, instead of doing a prayer, can we have a moment of silence? Like everybody kind of tweaked, I guess. Like,
It was the board. It wasn't the
yeah.
members of the support
Okay. All right. I
group.
was a
It was,
little confused.
yeah, 'cause I
I'm
used to be a
sorry.
board. No, you're fine. I used to be a board member, and there was 13 of us on the board. And
Okay.
so when I brought that up in the board meeting, it was not well received.
So, you mentioned there was a lot of the blame game. Is that common amongst people that because I've only had a couple of people in my life, commit suicide, but that was like back in high school. I haven't had much of my adult life where people were taking their lives. So, is it common when people lose someone for, through to suicide? um where people are doing the blame game instead of like, it's mental illness or whatever it is, or they're suffering from like a physical email or whatever it is it just typical for people to just go ahead and just blame somebody else instead of just being like this person was suffering, and sometimes that suffering is silent, and it's much easier to blame than look at the wider picture of mental health. So
Right. That's it. It's easier to point the finger, blame a catalyst, than to look deeper into the person who died by suicide, their life. They people, and I blame myself as well. I blame myself for many years after my husband died. Um, I blame myself even more when I saw it written in a police report, an autopsy report. People how they were treating me, and uh, but I don't blame myself anymore. But at the time,
mm,
I felt like, yeah, it was my responsibility. I had control over his life, and obviously that's not true, Um, if it was, I'm not, I don't say that suicide is a choice, but what I'm about to say, I use the word choice here, because I feel like suicide is when you run out of choices.
right.
But
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I have the same feeling.
it
As
was
someone that was suicidal, like you feel like, luckily I had intervention at the time, but it does feel like you're completely out of choices and there's no other way, so so what your husband was going through, I completely empathize with that.
I also say that if it was my choice, he would still be here.
Right.
And this is not what I wanted for him.
No.
You know, it took,
Weird, Lindsay. You didn't want him to do
but
that
I did. I
because you
took
loved
all the blame.
him.
Took on the blame, and that is very common with
Mhm.
people who are bereaved by suicide, that they feel that they had some kind of responsibility or control over that person.
It's it's funny because we don't do that if someone has like cancer. They have like a disease that's going to take their life. If they have cancer or they have a heart condition or some other condition that is going to rob their life from them. We don't look at the spouse and go, well, they got cancer, so it's obviously like your fault. We just go, oh, it's sad that person got cancer and ended up passing away. um I think that there is, and as someone that has mental illness and deals with it, and I'm constantly in and out of therapy. I'm back to once a week now. I was doing every other week. Now I'm back to once a week because I'm just going through some personal stuff. But there's this attitude that it's mind over matter, that you can just will yourself to not be depressed. And also when you're in this sort of mindscape, you feel like you're the only person and you can't really express to others how you're feeling. And I think it's worse with men, just my personal perspective, because they're told to be stoic and their emotions are not allowed a place. You mentioned your husband was a police officer. Was there a culture of that? Did you notice it? I mean, like, maybe not before he died or after, like, was there, as you started to make sense of it, was there like this feeling of like, what was the pattern, that you saw?
I did not know Sergeant Brett Doolittle. I only knew Brett Doolittle. He
Okay.
would work at work and
Okay.
he wouldn't tell me anything. Like, I would ask him about his job. He didn't want to tell me anything about his job. I one time was at home and on the news, I see my late husband in a police chase and chases down someone at, like, they had a helicopter cam on him. And when he got home, I was like, how was your day? And he was like, it was stupid. That was mainly the answer. It was stupid. And I go, I happened to see you on the news. And he's like, okay. Like, he didn't talk anything about work.
That's so weird. Like, so he tried to keep it separate, but did he have an outline? Like, did he have like a excuse me, did he have like a therapist or like some kind of community, like a cop community he could connect to? Or was it just like, just like, I'm gonna forget about the shit that happened at work today?
Mhm. He told me how much he hated his job, how much he hated the people in the police department. And then come to find out that's not true. It wasn't true. He was very compartmentalized. Like I told you, he had a lot of secrets. Um, but yeah, it was after his death that all of these secrets, and right before he died, it was like he had a spider web of secrets that started to unravel. I caught a lie of his and I found out about one, and just started like snowballing for him. And one of the lie that I found out was that he was having an affair with someone at work. And then after he died, I found out he had been having affairs the entire 17 years that we were
Wow.
together.
I am so sorry.
I
That's
mean, like, the secrets, I felt like, who did I even lose to make
Mary.
this married to? I don't even know. It just, it all blew up for me as well. Like, who I put so much of my identity into him. I met him when I was 15 years old. And we met in high school. So when he died, I felt like my identity as well. Uh, it just, and then finding out so much about all these different lies, it the that was so damaging. The pain of losing someone to suicide finding the person who has died by suicide. I found him in our home. Then
Oh my
finding
God, I'm so sorry, Lindsay. Like that must have been horrible. I'm so sorry. Like I know we talked a little bit about this, but this is like like the complete story. So my heart is definitely like that is terrifying and terrible. And I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
I feel for so many of us that are out there that go through this, that they
Hmm.
have either witnessed it or they
Yeah.
find them, or even when they don't find them, it's still like that is so traumatic in itself. I've found so many people, especially the widows, it's that the blame on top of the death itself, that we're the ones, like, the fingers pointed at.
Well,
The blame trumps the death itself sometimes.
right. And it's the misogyny of like you're supposed to be the emotional regulator for your spouse. That's one of the things that patriarchy religion teaches. If you're taught to be stoic, but you're also, your wife is the only person that you're supposed to be able to trust, and she's supposed to help you regulate your feelings. Your husband had a web of secrets. How can you help him with his emotions if he's not being completely honest about the things that he was doing and experiencing, and didn't trust you to, allow himself to open up to you, or was selective about the things he would share, and it's very disgusting when you kind of think about it in that concept. And it's not, I'm not blaming your husband, I'm just blaming systems that we're trying to break down, because men are emotionally vulnerable just as much as we are. It's just the way they're taught to repress, or if they do express it, somehow they're weak. you know
I the police department, like I said, blamed, our marriage, and the police report and the autopsy report. Brett, he blamed, uh, the police department in his suicide letter. He blamed them, his job, which they did not write that in the police report. But
Interesting.
yeah, I have said that, yeah, I don't blame anyone. I feel that his life exceeded his coping skills.
Right. Did he yeah. Sorry, words are hard. Did he um did he show signs of depression or anything before he decided to take his life? Or like, I'm just curious. I'm not saying that you would know 100%, but like, did you have a feeling that this, or is it a complete like shock?
So it was afterwards, finding out all the warning signs. I wasn't taught the warning signs in school, and even the people who are taught the warning signs, when you're in it, it's hard to see it only like in
Yeah.
hindsight. But uh, I would tell you now, looking back, Brett, the entire 17 years we were together, there were warning signs, and there were even more warning signs prior to us even meeting. I had no idea. It was only after his death that I found out from his family that he had a secret stepdad that they had kept hidden. He kept it hidden, and I found out that he had been molested by him. Um,
Oh,
and
that's
so throughout his life, there were always things. I just didn't think of it as a warning sign. I just thought this is him, and these different things that were going on within him, they would just get increasingly worse throughout the
mhm.
year.
So for you, after he passed, and I'm sorry that he went through that, and he didn't um he didn't feel safe enough to like really deal with that or repress it. So that it makes my little heart like very sad. So for you, what was the emotions and things that you had to deal with after not only the suicide, but you know, realizing that the man you had married was someone that you didn't really know? And what was the emotions and the thoughts and things that you had afterwards?
I thought that my life was going to be always agony and despair. I
Mhm.
thought nothing would ever change. I thought that was going to be my life. And I felt tortured. I felt like it was
Yeah.
slamming in my face every waking moment. I was having nightmares, but then when I would wake up, it felt like the real nightmares would start. I wouldn't leave my house unless it was late at night to go to the grocery store. I felt like I looked like a monster. Um, I
Mhm.
didn't want people to see my face. People were whispering about me. Rumors were being spread. It seemed like everybody knew my story more than I knew my story. I
Yeah.
didn't want to be around people. I also didn't want to leave my house because the last time I had left my house, something terrible had happened. So I really wanted people to come over to my house, but a lot of people didn't want to come over because it happened at my house. So it was growing increasingly. Like I didn't think it could get any worse, and then finding out about uh, him and his affairs and being blamed, like it came to a point where then I felt like I was losing myself, and I had even attempted
Mhm.
my life. Thankfully, nothing happened. um, I I sought out professional help after that, but it was definitely the it is definitely the worst thing that I could ever. I it is so terrible, Helen.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that because I happen to know that you were a wonderful human being, and it and the fact that not only that you went through it, but you transformed it and want to help others is really, really remarkable. Um, you are the definition of a survivor. So, you
Well,
know.
thanks. I do credit, even though I left that support group,
Mhm,
still give that support group out as a resource to people, because the first night I went in, I saw people laughing and joking around and smiling, and I was thinking, "How are they doing this?
mhm,
How," you know, because I just thought, "I'm going into this support group, and I wanna be over this. I want this to
right.
be done with. I'm gonna get over this, and then, like, this is not gonna be my life." And they show you
Oh,
that
Lindsay. You sweet summer child.
they show you that you don't get over it, you get through it, and they really
Mhm.
did help me. And so I give out that resource. It's on my website too. I put their resource on there. And it's just now, with being with recovering from religion, it's we at recovering from religion in the support group, we find religion not helpful in our grief journey. Or some people might have questions about their doubts or beliefs after a suicide. A lot of people do. And some of the support groups are not safe to talk about it in there. So we're a non judgmental support group that anybody can, there's no proselytizing. But if they've got questions or they have thoughts, that, that's a safe place to express it.
So, Andrea was asking, I know so after you lost your husband, did you become agoraphobic because of that fear of judgment when, of leaving your home, or was that just because you were trying to isolate yourself because it was too much at the time?
I'd say everything was so overwhelming.
I would imagine so.
And I mean, little by little, I started going out, but I definitely, it was hard because the whispers, the rumors,
Which is
um,
gross.
but then it was just like, I didn't want people to see me. I didn't want, people wanted to, like, even, like, getting photos taken, I didn't want people to take my photo. It took me a while before I would start taking photos again, but that was it. The support group shows you that you can have joy in your life,
Mhm.
that you
Mhm.
can live a life of joy and happiness, that it doesn't ever go away. Uh, it will never go away. It's not gonna go away. Um, but you can cope and manage it in healthier ways, and that is, for me, why the support group is so important. I hope that other people who come to the support group or any support group, that, they can find that hope in there.
Oh, I love my chat. They're being very supportive. I love my people. So thank you guys. Like I always say, like grief and trauma it's not something you get over. You just,
Get
like
through
I
it.
always say, they're pebbles that you carry in your pocket. And sometimes, like when it first happens, it's a boulder. And then over time, with help and support and love, the boulder gets smaller and smaller until they're pebbles in your pocket. And sometimes you take them out and you look at them and you're like, oh, like you're doing now. And other times it jumps out of your pocket and hits in your head. And then you have to cry about it and go through the emotions again, and, like you have the pebbles, that you carry. And they're always going to be a part of you, but they are a part of you. They don't define you. And I think that's the most important lesson when it comes to grief and trauma, is that they are part of you, but they're not all of. They are a part of who you are, not, but it does not complete you. And I think that the work that you do for RFR, and also being an advocate for a very difficult conversation, something that we don't like to talk about. We don't like to talk about suicide. We don't want to talk about the survivors. We want to say that the people that took their own lives are selfish. We want to say that they didn't care. And it's like, no, that's not the reality. Because you don't know if someone chooses to do this. As you said, they have run out of options. They feel like there's no place to go.
I will say, my husband, he attempted in front of me 4 months prior to his death, and
Jesus, that's
I
so scary. I am so sorry, sweetheart.
didn't wanna
Like if
tell.
I could reach through the 1,000 miles between us and hug you, I would. So
But I thank you. I didn't wanna tell anyone. I was there. I was able to stop him that evening.
Mhm.
Um, and I did call his or messaged his friend, and I told him what had happened. And it wasn't until after his death, after the funeral, I found out, that my husband lied to his friend and said that I had made that all up. And that was just a story I told. Um,
Mhm.
and I don't blame his friend. It just kind of shows you that some people, you know, no matter what you do,
Mhm.
that you don't have control over that person. We went to marriage counseling after that, and I didn't tell the marriage counselor. I sat there, I would cry on the couch. Uh, she she knew something was going on. She asked him, though, our counselor asked him if he had ever thought about ending his life, and he said, "Nope." And she goes, "You have a gun?" And he goes, "No, never thought about it." And, and I just sat there crying on the couch, and I wanted to tell her so badly what was going on. But I wanted to tell the police department what was going on. But he was the police, he was the police, and I didn't think that they would believe me, and I thought he would leave me. I was so scared inside. It wasn't just even suicide though, Helen, because he was past suicide of now he's homicidal suicidal because he was also making threats about killing the people in his police department, and he also had made a threat
Oh,
against me.
wow.
And so it was really scary in the house. I didn't want to say anything to anybody.
I don't that is the cycle of abuse, where it and um I would assume that you had some guilt, like, not that you deserve to have the guilt, but there was some guilt associated with that because, you're supposed to be his wife and the support system, and he is now, saying that not only does he want to harm you, but other people. But at the same time, you're like, well, if I do this thing, is it going to make it worse? And I don't know your thoughts, but like I would imagine there was grief and trauma and fright and what do I do? And like no option seems good.
Yeah, I definitely have thought back about all of this. And at the time, yeah, after he died, like I said, I blamed myself. I remember looking in the mirror and would repeat over and over that I was sorry, like I was talking to him and saying, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I did all of this. I'm so sorry. And now I'm like, I know that that wasn't rational thinking on my part. But I don't have any regrets on what I did at all.
Right.
The only regret that I do have is I wish I would have taken myself out of the house with my cats a lot sooner. I wish I would have left him because a lot of people focus in on the person who has suicidal ideation that you need to help them. But if you're not safe uh, living with that person or being
Right.
around that person, you matter too, and that you need to take yourself away. That's what I wish I would have done
This is
different.
like it's the whole adage like doctors don't operate on their own family members.
Mm.
Like the type of help that he needed, you couldn't give him. And also like how can you help someone when you don't feel safe, when your mental health and your mental stability is at risk because of the person that is threatening not only their own, they're ending their own life but extending that outwards. I wouldn't feel safe, and I wouldn't feel like, hey, let's have a conversation about why you're having these feelings. Like you're not the person, you're too emotionally close.
Mhm.
We say, when more people are deconstructing, like we're like, hey, you're deconstructing, maybe you kind of want to help your family member do it. You're not the person to talk to them.
Mhm.
It's the same thing, like you are too emotionally close. And it sounds like it was mentally and emotionally abusive, at that time, for you from what you're describing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm too well versed in trauma. like I have too much trauma education. I always say, like, hey, let me tell you why you have this problem. So, um, so what was so after the aftermath of it, how did you start your healing journey? Like, I'm really interested to hear about like how you went from, like moving from a victim mentality to a survivor mentality, where not only that you've transitioned, but you're actually in a place where you really want to help people. Like, what was that journey like for you?
I I feel besides the support group, because that was hands down the best gift I ever gave myself. Um, the besides the support group, besides going to get professional help and being 100% honest to your counselor, because I was so scared. Like, if I say, I'm having these thoughts, are they going to take me and lock me up and put me in a hospital? And that's exactly what I told my therapist. Back after what had happened after my attempt, I decided to be 100% honest. And I remember my therapist at the time. I have a different therapist now, but at the time she was like, if we took people and put them in hospitals for having these thoughts, the hospitals would be flooded and there would be too many people, and no, we wouldn't.
Right. Right.
So I was like, oh my gosh, like this weight lifted, like I can talk about this. I think the statistic, though, for even loss survivors who are bereaved by somebody, an intimate person in their life, they are bereaved by someone who's died by suicide, they have, I think it's a 65% chance, the increasing chance of dying by suicide themselves. I didn't know that statistic, and I wish I would have been able to know about that so I could have talked about it sooner. So being honest with professional help. I think what else was finding people I could trust. Like, I could tell my story and they're not gonna go around sharing it with other people. Uh,
Right.
that was major because people would wanna go and just run with whatever, was coming out of my mouth at that time. I felt like I had no filter. It was just all coming out, and it was like the juiciest stories for people to find out, and they were talking about it, and I to find people that you could trust and that your story is not gonna go any further than with them. That was so helpful. And I think that, what really helped, all the noise that was going on, to calm that noise was, creating. It was art. Um, art, I feel, helps. Art saves. It
Mm-hmm.
helped me, it saved me. Um, when I was just in such the rage of being blamed.
Right.
Police department, every time I'd reach out to that chief, he would meet me with silence. And I was thinking, if Brett died any other way, if he had died in the line of duty, I'd be getting 24-hour, around the clock care. If he had died of a physical illness or an accident, um, you know, there would be food. There would be like people bringing
Right,
casseroles.
bringing casseroles and
You
being
know,
like, "What can I do to help?" And, "Do you
you know,
need, like,
no,
kindness or space? Like, what do
there
you need?"
wasn't any of that. It
Yeah,
was,
and that's
and
the thing that's so gross.
that
That's heartbreaking.
that could have helped so much. That
Yep.
could have made such a difference. Um, but because that wasn't there for me, I had to channel that rage somehow, somewhere, somehow. It had to come out of me, and that was through my art. And I um I didn't intend for I started drawing people in my support group. I
Mhm.
would draw the other lost survivors, and I wouldn't look at my paper. I'd look only at them because I wanted them to see that I'm paying attention. I'm not scared of what you say. You can say anything to me, and
Right.
I am not going to shy away. I'm not gonna run
Aw.
away. I'm not gonna distance myself from you. I'm there for you. And I would draw these people sharing everything in that support group. And uh and when I heard so many other people were being blamed, that's when I decided I want other people to see these drawings. I want this to become an exhibit, and I title them by the relationship to the person that they lost to suicide. So if they lost their dad, it would be called dad. If they lost their daughter, daughter. Um, then there would be like I have lots and lots of these drawings. There's a gallery of these drawings, and there is a wall of letters written by lost survivors to the person they lost. So any age, and any preferred language, a one-page letter. I don't censor anything. You know, I've
Right.
had so many people tell me, I can't say that. You can't talk ill about the dead. You can't do this. You can't say
Why? They're dead.
oh, it happens. And
Like,
I'm
like Thomas Jefferson, we talk shit about him all the time because he owned slaves. So he was not a good person. He's dead. I'll talk shit about the dead. They're not here to counteract me. I'm like, hey, Jeffrey Epstein, piece of shit human being. He's dead. I'm glad he's dead. Piece of shit. I'm going to talk ill about the dead. Hey, guess what? Because like, okay, I'm going to say something shitty about your husband. I'm sorry. I definitely have, there's part of me that I have empathy for his mental illness, but I'm sorry that he left you with like this bullshit that you have to deal with when he killed himself, because now you have to deal with the bullshit he leaves in his wake. And you're the one that has to deal with it. He's dead. He doesn't have to deal with it. And that's the sad part, is that when someone dies, whether by their own hand or through other circumstances, it is the survivors that have to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, definitely.
And that is what hurts. That's the hurt that leaves behind.
I let people write whatever they want. I don't censor what they write. And it's a wall of letters, and people who come to this exhibit, if they want to add their own letter or another letter, they've already written a letter, like it just keeps growing. And then there's a table of resources from around the world of awareness and prevention. And I even have materials from Singapore, you know, that they send me resources, Samaritans of Singapore. But this exhibit, it's called Faces After Suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a way for me to channel my rage, but at the same time, for other people, it's bigger than just my story. I want other people to see that there's other people that are blamed. There's other people that are going through it is terrible
Some shit.
There's also people who've written letters who are finding they didn't lose anybody to suicide, but they feel like they're losing themselves. So they'll write themselves a letter, and they'll I'll hang it up on the wall as well.
I think that's beautiful. I really do. I think that's beautiful, because like there's this, there's this feeling, especially those of us that have thought about it, and still those thoughts float around your head, that you don't get to express those things, you know, because like you feel like something's wrong with you for having those feelings. And there's not anything wrong with you. It's just that life is sometimes very overwhelming. And some people, for whatever reason, choose to end their life. I think sometimes if it's like, I have this thing about, like, you know, there's a difference, like when it becomes abusive, like in your situation where it was not just where he was going to take his own life, where it extended outwards and you ended up suffering the cost. I think in those instances that we as a species need to do better, because obviously you didn't want your husband to die. You weren't like, yay, please kill yourself. You were heartbroken, and the grief, and then to get blame on top of that and feel that rage and anger and confusion and like, what the fuck? Instead of people rallying around you going, what do you need? I love you. I care about you. This isn't your fault. He's the one that made the choice. It was blame. And I think that's disgusting, personally, because you weren't sitting there, like, you know, encouraging him. And that's what's gross, because we don't, and because again, he's gone. you were left to pick up the pieces. You were the one that had to deal with the reactions, not only from family, but also I'm sure the cop culture was not exactly kind to that. So
Not my family. I would say, well, his family jumped ship. I mean, they were
oh really?
his mom was my mom. You know,
Oh.
his stepdad, not the one that they were keeping hidden, this first stepdad I didn't know about, but his stepdad that I knew about, he was my dad. I loved them. It hurt so bad
I would imagine.
when they didn't want me to be part of their lives. I
Mm-mm.
was losing so many people in my life. I wasn't even his mother died. I wasn't even allowed to go to the funeral. They wouldn't let me go to the funeral. It hurts so bad, Ellen.
I, yeah, I
Uh,
would imagine it was, sweetie. I'm so
so it
sorry.
was so important that, you know, in suicide, that some of the people that you thought were gonna be there for you, and they weren't. But then there's some special people that you never expected that you have to hold on to,
Mhm.
that you got to look for those special there was a lot of special people that came out of this. Um, but no, my family, they were there. Um, it was it was the I thought family in blue. I have a huge distrust in police now that this has happened. I was having a distrust in police though for a while before he died with things that were going on in our house. Um, but I have a huge distrust for police now. Um,
Mhm.
but, but yes, definitely the people I've met in
Aw.
the support group, the people I met in recovering from religion, the people I've met at Oasis, um, uh, you know, I have to look at them. I can't stay always focused on the people that weren't there. I have to look at the people that are there and have been there.
And I think that I keep saying this, especially in not you, but like in recent events in my own life, you find out who your friends are when some shit hits the fan. The people that do show up, the people that do love you, that do care about you, want even that are like, hey, I see you, and I'm sorry you're hurting. Let me show up. Um, because there are people that say I love you, but when shit hits the fan, they scatter. They show what their loyalty is. And the fact that you were able to find people that were like, I love you, your family especially, I think that's wonderful. That they were like, no, this is kind of fucked up. Like, I love you. Um, but I also have, empathy, not me, but sympathy for his family wanting to post blame. Because what do you do? Like, I'm not saying that you deserve to be victimized in any way, but I also understand that instinct to blame. Because what do you do? Like, your child, family member took to their own life. It's like it's much easier to look at a scapegoat when you're going through grief than to actually be like, why did this happen? And that comes later. So I think it's right, no, but I understand the emotions, because that is an instinct that I think all of us have, to want to put the blame somewhere, you
I
know.
don't, I don't know why exactly his family decided to distance themselves. Um, I feel like for some people, I'm a reminder. I'm a constant reminder, and maybe it hurt so much to see me.
Yeah.
Um, I don't really know.
Grief
But
grief doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. I mean, go ahead, finish your thought. I'm sorry. Keep going, sweetheart. I'm sorry.
oh, uh, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the reasoning was there, but it must have been deep if I wasn't allowed to come to the funeral.
I think that, like, I'm not. saying I know, but like you said, like, because you were the one that found him, you were the one living with him, you're the wife, like, maybe they thought that you should have been able to prevent it, I don't know, it doesn't make any fucking sense, because you're just a person, you are one person. Why are you put with the burden of holding everything that, and you're supposed to solve that problem of secrets that he was keeping from you? Like, how do you even untangle that? And again, I think it's easier for us to play the scapegoat than actually like look at the wider picture, and like I'm a parent, I totally understand that instinct. You want to project when really it's like it's hard to deal with the reality. And when you're grieving, grief makes no sense. Grief, like I one thing I've learned, like after my father passed, is that after the way a couple of my brothers treated me, after my dad died just from old age, grief doesn't make any sense. It makes people behave contrary to, as you said, like his mom was your mom. Grief changes a person. And I think that it hurts and it's terrible and it's disgusting, but also at the same time, I know I get it. Like I get it, even though it sucks. It sucks. It sucks really bad, guys. But also at the same time, grief does not make sense. But also that is not an excuse for you not to take care of yourself and set boundaries and to know that you are worthy of love and respect, even though the people that you thought were support systems may reject you. And I think that's hard to learn, but you are worthy of respect and love and care, even when the people that you thought were going to be there aren't. And that's sad. I really wish they had been more kind and more empathetic to you, because I think you're wonderful and I think you deserve that, especially at that time.
Well, thanks.
I try. I try to be a little light in the bullshit. That's what I do. So now that you're doing the support group, like what, like especially for your, like I know that people tell you their stories, but like how's that help you heal?
How does it help me heal with the support group?
Yeah, like everything you've done, when you're working with the bereavement group that you're working with,
Yeah.
to the work that you're doing with RFR, like how's that helped you?
Oh, so immensely. Knowing that I'm not I thought I was the only one who was going through this. But to find that there's so many others that it saddens me to know there's so many others, but um, not but and it's also helped me to know that it sounds cliche, but I'm not alone, as a suicide loss survivor or being blamed or finding out lots of secrets after your spouse has died. Um, I I have found, a community within that, where I didn't have community before. I feel like I just didn't have that. Again, I didn't grow up religious, and so when after Brett died, I was like, losing all these people in my life, I was like, I needed community.
Right.
So having the lost survivor community, finding Oasis and having community with them, that meant a lot. Well, there's another community we haven't talked about yet, but the writer and film community as well,
Mhm.
here in Kansas City. Community means a lot to me. But yeah, being able to hopefully provide some kind of hope to those who are just starting out, because that meant so much to me when I was starting out. That's why every month I'm signing on. There's only been one time that I wasn't able to sign on, and we had my co-facilitator. He stepped up, and that evening, but I was at a protest that night, so I
Oh,
I wanted
they'll allow a little slide.
this community means so much.
I I think that's the thing we keep learning over and over again, that we are very social and we need each other. Like, we are not islands. And when we are islands, it never goes well.
Yeah, there's sometimes like being by myself is good. It's good. Then there's times I really do need other people and I cannot like in those times to isolate myself, that's not I know that for me is not healthy. It might be healthy for other people, but to be really honest with myself, when I am down, I need to get out. I need to get out and I need to be able to be around people I can trust.
I like, I'm the same way. Like, I don't know what it's like to be on my own. I've never been on my own. I don't know what that is like. um I lived with my parents, and I lived with my ex-husband, and now I live in a house with 3 other people, with my husband and my roommate and my oldest child. I don't know, and I come from a big family, so I don't know what it's like to be on my own. That's the thing that terrifies me, because when there are times that I need to be introspective, but when I'm hurting, I am definitely the person that I'm like, please don't let me be alone. I need support. I need care. Um, because that's when I feel like I'm drowning and I need life preservers. um, and if someone is asking you to be a life preserver, please show up for that person, unless they're toxic. like, like, know your boundaries. But if they're like, hey, I'm going through a really difficult time right now, I would really like someone to, like, make me a casserole, and come over and just let me cry, and we can watch The Princess Bride together, or whatever that looks like. I think that those things can be the most meaningful things, for people to not feel that they're alone.
Yeah, what and that was something after he died that, I was so dependent on him. I felt like we were very codependent, and then it was me, and I didn't even know how to mow my lawn. Like I didn't know what to do for
Oh my God, my husband, if
so
Todd passes away, I don't know what I'm gonna
like,
do.
all of
Like,
those things.
he got a riding mower, so
But just even being able to sit by myself with these feelings, I'd never done that. Um, just all knowing I'm by myself here, and that has been something that has come out of this is that I know that I'm gonna be okay. I know that I'm gonna be able to get through it. Whatever comes my way, I know, and it took me a long time to before I could be able to say that, but I know that I'm gonna be okay. Whereas before I thought it was all gonna be doom. I better just give up now. This is I had that kind of mentality where now I'm like, I got this.
yeah, it is. Yeah, like, that's the thing that, like, if I'm gonna be, like, a little bit vulnerable, like, I tell myself I've survived some shit, but the thought of not having a support system, like, in my everyday life, is like, because I know plenty of people that they do really well on their own, like you and Cara and other people in my life that are, like, they're used to being living alone, and, like, they have community of friends, but they exist on their own. Like, to me, that is so foreign to me at 48 years old, that I don't know what that looks like, and that is one of my deepest fears. Like, even though I know I would do okay, like, because I'm smart, and I would have to, it's still one of those things that you, like, I don't know what that's like. Like, you say you met your husband at 15, and then 17 years later, you have to learn to a whole new set of skills. I find that very admirable. For me, I'm like, that is, like, terrifying to me. I would figure it out. That I know about myself, but still, it's the thing in the back of my brain that I'm like, fuck no, absolutely not. I don't want to know what that's like.
I'm still figuring things out, but I know that I got this. It's
Yeah.
still scary at times. It's still scary at times, but I know that I got this. So that's the good thing, that there's some good things that have come out of this,
Aw.
especially also being able to uh, build my boundaries.
Oh, Forging, you're so sweet. I have a wonderful community that shows up. So that was beautiful. Thank you, Forging. You are a beautiful human being, like inside and out. I think you are wonderful. And the fact that you were able to find, like, I have to imagine that it is scary, like, even because, like, I don't know, like, do you live on your own? Like, you're kind of,
Yeah. Well, Walter's here. You might see him. That's my cat.
okay, well, the kitty cats. Like, I have 4 cats that are in the house with me. I would definitely live with the cats. Like,
Me and Walter.
um, like the fact that you not only like you didn't just like, live, but you're thriving. Like that is a testimony, and not only to yourself, but also to your husband, that you were like, I'm going to not only live, but I'm going to take what happened to you and myself, and I'm going to transform it, and I'm going to be I'm going to help others. Like that is a very powerful thing that you're doing.
Yeah, I didn't know there's actually something called post-traumatic growth that I have
Yeah, I
learned.
know, me too.
Yeah,
As a trauma survivor, learn that. I was like, oh.
yeah. And I've seen some wonderful, amazing things from people that have inspired me. And yeah, uh, yeah, definitely. Like being able, like the art has helped so much, but like being able to like, I don't know, it's just people who are speaking out. When people speak out, that gives me strength to speak out too.
I think, yeah, I think like as a sexual abuse survivor, and when I'm able to talk about my story and also hear other people talk about their own story, it's like a balm to my own trauma. Like I'm like, oh, other people have gone through this too. I'm not existing in my own trauma, my own brain, and my own feelings about this. I get to connect with others that have gone through this, and you feel like it's more bearable when you're not alone. And I think that those people that you connect with when you're dealing with those emotions is so important, because it keeps the darkness at bay. Like the darkness is still there, but it's not as overwhelming where you're sinking into your own despair and you think that you were completely alone. No one else can know these feelings. No one else can understand. No one else can feel the feelings that I'm feeling. Then you realize there are plenty of other people that are going through it. And you're just like, okay, the darkness is bearable.
Absolutely.
So on that note, so you mentioned you do the grief support for this. I kind of want to shift gears a little bit to you do a lot of work for RFR. That's how we met. So I want you to talk a little. I know you do the support group, but what else do you do for recovering from religion? Why you talk about that? Per usual, when I'm doing my podcast, I have to pee because I have bladder issues. So I'm going to let you talk about a little bit what do you do for recovering from religion for about 2 minutes while I use the bathroom, and I will be right back.
Will
This
you be
always
able
happens.
to
You are not the first nor not the last.
will you be
So
able to hear me, Helen?
yes, I'm going to yes, I am.
You can hear. Okay, so you'll be able to hear.
I believe in you to tell my audience what you do for RFR, and also what you do with your production company. So combine the two. You can talk for 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay, well, oh boy, here we go. uh, so right now we're in production for the documentary Recovering from Religion. Uh, Dr. Daryl Ray, the founder, who I met at Oasis and who wanted me to be the support group leader for the suicide bereavement support group, co-facilitator. Um, him being able to show me how to take off the mask and not make other people comfortable around me and just be myself. I wanted to be able to I wanted to give back to Daryl and to the other people also in recovering from religion that I've met. So yeah, we're making a documentary and it's we're almost 3 years into making it.
Yeah, you've been working on this a while.
We've traveled to his house here and it's not too far away from me in Kansas City. He lives about maybe 30 minutes away from me. Uh, then we've gone to filmed at the American Atheist Conference. We've filmed at the Recovering from Religion Fall Excursion twice now. The American Atheist Conference twice now. Um, we've been able to interview lots of different organizations that help that support RFR, but they are also interviews from people who are benefiting from the support of RFR. And yeah, and then we also have filmed at Oasis, Kansas City Oasis.
Mhm.
And my two goals from the get-go with this film have always been I want whoever's sitting in the audience, if we're at a film festival that, and I'm hoping to get into a lot of red state film festivals, but I'm hoping that whoever's sitting in the audience who needs this resource, they're going to get this resource. And then the other goal was whoever's in the audience and maybe they recognize they're causing the damage, maybe they'll have a different perspective. But yeah, hopefully I've stopped telling people when I feel that we're going to be done with this because that as an independent
You were
filmmaker,
like you're like when I saw you at the excursion 2 years ago, you're like, "Oh yeah, like we're gonna do some post production. It's gonna be out in like a year," and I was like, "Cool, awesome." And then you're like, "I'm still filming." Like,
well, the thing is that we keep getting wonderful interviews, or like me and my editor, Patrick Ray, we'll sit down and we're editing together, and then we're like, ooh, I wish we had something right here for this transition. Or we'll have somebody look at our footage that we have cut already, and they're like, somebody who doesn't know anything about RFR or doesn't know anything about American atheists, they don't know anything about the secular world, and they're watching this cut and they're like, I wish that you would have had something right here that would explain this, and having more eyes on it than just us. And so in doing that, you got to go back out and film some more and film some more
so
and film
to
some more.
answer, is the documentary covering just one denomination or is it covering a whole gamut of religion?
Well, definitely. It's so diverse. We have so many former different religions that are represented here. We've talked to people who are former Mennonite and former Jehovah and former Muslim and former Christian. And I mean, like, there's just we wanted to make
It
sure.
is the like our far we like when I was volunteering for them, it is the gambit. It
Yeah,
is there is no one
nobody
religion
seems
that
hard to
shows up.
have.
And also not even religion, like new wave woo-woo shit. Like people that just had like weird ideas about the world and how things exists in reality, but also you get people that have left extreme cults, or you get people that were just like, hey, I don't believe in a God anymore. They were like, a casual Catholic, but they're trying to just, work through those ideas, and they're seeking community to be like, hey, I didn't drink, I don't think trans, you know, uh, oh, I forget the word. When like the body and blood of Christ turns into wine. I'm forgetting the word. I should know it as a former Catholic. Do I remember right now? Fuck no. But like, you get these people that are just asking questions, and they just want to find a soft place to land to ask those questions. You get people that are far that they're just changing religions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm hoping that it's gonna be out next year.
Is that your goal for 2026?
Although I did say that I was hoping by the end of this year, but then we just had this opportunity to go back and film. We had filmed somebody at the fall excursion who didn't want to be shown on camera. Like, they wanted to have their face blurred. They had a story that they wanted to share. And then we came to find out that they were coming back to the excursion again. But they had told their family about their deconversion.
I think I know who you're talking about.
They wanted to share, what life has been like now that they are in a different place, and they wanted to have their face filmed, so there's just these opportunities that come up. And I'm the owner of my production company, Above the Rug Productions, because I feel like so many things are swept under the rug. I'm Above the Rug Productions. So we want to be able to share what people have to say. So I don't want to put I'll just say this: it's going to be out in the future.
It's going to be out sometime in 2026. It'll be the RFR documentary, and I totally understand, because even though I'm not with RFR anymore, I'm connected with so many people in this community that are just looking for a voice to talk about, hey, even in casual conversation with all my atheist friends, we'll talk about religious trauma. It comes up because we're all I was telling a friend, I said, we're all a bunch of traumatized people. And one of the major things is that when you come from religious trauma, is that it affects every aspect of your life, because you can't escape it, because religion is baked into fucking everything, that you're constantly talking about it. Even though you might have left the religion and you've dealt with the trauma, you still have to talk about it. And then you find yourself connecting with people because they know you're safe to talk about it with, because you've been through it. And you're just talking about yeah, I know what, yeah, I totally know what you're talking about, and the fact that you keep finding more material to talk about, with American Atheists, where they're doing more of the political lawful side of it, that interconnects to the everyday experience of people that want that, want that separation, and how do we live in a world that's pluralist as an atheist? How do we exist in that world? Because there are people that even show up in my chat. They'll say, I want to get rid of religion. I'm like, good fucking luck. I'm like, I'm going to be a realist and go, I'm going to have to live in a pluralist society where people are religious. How do I exist with those people? And how do I remain kind? And that's hard, but I still try.
Yeah. Well, that's the humanist side of you.
Yeah.
Right?
Because also too, I also recognize that we might get rid of religion. We're not going to get rid of bad ideas, because there are plenty of atheists that have really bad ideas. So
one of the values of Oasis is people are more important than beliefs.
Yeah, I love that. I have that on my like I say that a lot, and like I'm not an Oasis member, but I want the T-shirt. So because that is one thing I still, that's a value that I say people are more important than beliefs. So I've seen Carl wear that T-shirt, and I'm like, I want that T-shirt. So you have to send me one. Like, I'll pay for it. Just send me one. Like,
What shirt size are you, Helen?
I'm a medium. So all right, we'll connect. I really want that shirt. I really, really do. Because it's a value that I hold, that I really do. No matter what your belief is, you're more important than it. So I love you. Like, I do. I think you're just an amazing, wonderful, like fairy dust of a person. So like I know we don't talk much, but I really do admire the work that you do, because it's hard to talk about these things. Like, talking about suicide is not a fun time. You know, and the fact that you show up every month and you're sitting there with people that are dealing with that grief, that the quiet grief that nobody wants to talk about. Everybody talks about, like, grieving as a cycle. You know, like I lost my dad last year. I'm still dealing with that grief, and I'm always going to have it. I will always have the grief of losing my father. I haven't lost someone to suicide, not since high school, you know, and I was 14. I'm 48 years old. That's 34 years old of me just being like, it was sad. It was terrible, but not someone that was integrated into every aspect of my life. And that's a different story. And the fact that you show up and you're willing to give space. And I think space and time for people to sit and just be like, I want to hear your story. I want to hear what you're dealing with. It require, and the fact that it brings up memories and your own feelings, that takes an enormous amount of strength. And the fact that you're doing it shows not only your strength, but your kindness and empathy for other people. And I know that's hard. So, you know, I the work that you do is, I'm sorry, I'm going to cry now. I'm not going to cry. I'm going to be a mature podcast host and not cry. But the fact that you do it is very admirable.
Well, thanks, Helen. I'm sorry about your dad. I remember last year, you know, that happened. So thank you for what you do and that you share, and that you, you know, you put it out there, and it's okay that you cry. So thank you.
Thank you. I know. I just don't want to turn into a weepy mess. I just like, my makeup looks really good right now. So I don't wanna fuck it up. And I did enough crying, but like, it's Kelly. So Kelly was asking about post-traumatic growth. So what has been your experience with your therapist and understanding what post-traumatic growth is?
Being able to take that pain and turn it into something that's going to help catapult you to a next step, a step that's going to helps you. And then also you didn't maybe intend for it, but it's helping others.
I realized like when I did a group therapy, I'm for people that have been through sexual abuse, and sexual assault, and I moderated that group. I was in a good, healthy place at the time. But it really does help you to heal your own shit. Even though you've dealt with a lot of the therapy, like being in a place where you can be safe and you can empathize without bringing up your own shit is a powerful place to be when you're helping with people that aren't in that place. I think it really does help you heal, and also that you can be a support system for that. You know, I think that is a very powerful tool that you have in your toolbox as a trauma survivor. Like, because like I think for people that go through these experiences, when you go through extreme loss, when you go through trauma, it is it like at the time it again is the boulder, and then when you realize that you have pebbles and you can look at the pebble and say, hey, this is my pebble, let me hear about the boulder that you're carrying. So eventually we'll get to a place where you have just the pebbles that you're carrying around, that are a part of you, and they're the rough spots, of your person, the places that you don't feel 100% comfortable, but are places that you can go to connect with others. I think that is, the harder lesson to learn, but it's the necessary one.
I would also, the pebbles, I love the pebbles analogy there. I've heard someone say the boulder on the back that you're carrying uphill, and, it never drops off. What happens is your back gets stronger. And that's what I feel that is that you are getting stronger. It's always going to be there, but you get stronger.
It's the Sisyphus that are you going to go down and get your rock and push it up the hill, and it's hard. Like that is the burden. Like, are you going to have to be Sisyphus and go get your sorry, Camus? Like, you have to go get your rock and push it up the fucking hill. But that's the thing is that everybody's got a fucking rock. Like nobody gets through life without some fucking bullshit happening to them. Everybody's got their rock, you know. Sometimes it's a boulder and sometimes you have pebbles. It's just, it's like right now my boulder is to live through fascism. My pebbles are my own traumas, but right now my rock is fascism. Yay. But luckily everybody else is dealing with it too. So there's that. We can all unite under this. I'm making a joke about it because I don't want to think about the existential despair. But you're helping when people but the thing is though, when you help people deal with their rocks, their pebbles, is that then they can use that to help other people that are suffering right now. And I think that is the most important thing to learn. For me personally, I whatever lesson you take away from certain things is fine. Just my own personal lesson is always be kind and always try to help. Fred Rogers said that always look for the people that are helping. And I've taken that since I was 4 years old. So, and you're one of the people that's helping, Lindsey. And I think that's one of the things I love about you, that you are so kind, and not only kind, but really smart. And you have a way of connecting with people that is different than mine, that I really admire. So, that's one thing I appreciate about you. I think you're a wonderful human being.
Thank you. I've been doing
Okay.
better than just taking compliments and just saying thank you before
yeah, don't deflect. Just take it.
Thank you.
Because you are a beautiful person inside and out. And I don't give compliments lightly. So, but I do believe in giving compliments because everybody needs a little bit more kindness in the world. So, that's one of the things. And you're doing a lot of kindness. So, I really appreciate that about you. So, I don't have anything else to say. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Oh, no, I appreciate you having me come on here. And I really love the firewood ambiance. I don't, if it's okay if I just share, I've got my
I love it. It is spooky. I love your jack-o'-lantern.
I felt very comfortable coming on here. But I already knew you, so you.
I know.
To talk.
I know. No, I appreciate it. I'll have you back on. I am having an anniversary stream on December 5th for my 1 year anniversary. So you'll have to stop by because I'm inviting everybody that's been on the stream.
Oh, awesome.
To stop by. And I'm doing a charity stream that night for my friend Jason Friedman, who is going to be starting a foundation for low cost therapy for people.
Nice.
So I'm going to be doing that because he's applying for his nonprofit status, and I'm going to try to help to raise money. And he's asked me to be a board member, so I'll do that too.
Wow.
But I said, hey, I'm very good at networking and making money, so I will help with that. But anyway, do a little bit of shilling. Tell people where they can find you, and also a little bit about your production company and where they can find you there, because I forgot to ask the first social media links. So I'll have to put that in doobly-doo.
Well, and also I just want to say thank you for, you asked me before we started, what do you not want to talk about? Usually what I've had in the past from people are like, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that. And you were more of, what do you not want to talk about? So I appreciate that.
No, always. Yeah. I don't want to bring up anything that people are like, please don't. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no.
I have an open forum. Like, you tell me what you want to talk about. If you don't want to talk about something, don't talk about it. If you want to talk about certain then we can talk about it. Like, I'm a host. I am not. I am driving the ship, and you tell me where we want to go.
Now, if people want to watch the trailer for the documentary,
I can pull it up on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's on
I'll
YouTube.
do it right now.
And on YouTube, my channel's Above the Rug Productions, which you can see other short films I've done, which each one of those films are award-winning. So they've been to film festivals globally, and I never wanted to be a filmmaker. It was something that I just felt like I needed to do it inside. Like, I needed to get this out of me. And I started surrounding myself with people who knew what they were doing. I just had this idea. Yeah. And
that's what I do. I'm like, oh, I know people that know how to do shit.
Along the way, I've learned a lot and been creating my own, but you're working with other people and a crew, and it's pretty fantastic. If you can't get people to listen to you, like the police department, they didn't want to listen. They met me with silence. I found a way around them. Other people will listen. So Above the Rug Productions on YouTube, and then my website's abovetherug.com. And then we have a GoFundMe. The GoFundMe is kind of funny because on GoFundMe, they have different categories, like, if this is something for like for spiritual or religious wise, but they don't have anything for non-beliefs. So I put recovering from religion under religion.
Like when I have to categorize my videos, I'm like activism and nonprofit, because I'm like, it's not entertainment. It's like
health and well-being. They have entertainment, then they have religion. And I was like, I guess I'm putting it under religion because I think it's funny.
I'm against religion, but anyway, since I pulled it up, I'm gonna play the trailer.
Okay.
So and then go subscribe to Above the Rug. I'll put a link in. And I'm going to play the Recovering from Religion trailer. Lindsey, thank you so much for being here. I think that you are a wonderful sprinkle of fairy dust. And so I love you. Thank you so much for being here. This is a conversation that I don't think gets enough attention. So the fact that you are doing it is, for lack of a better word, a blessing. I'm going to play the trailer, guys. So hang around for 2 minutes and 48 seconds. Okay, so watch it. Okay, I'm playing right now.
I don't believe in fairies. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in vampires hungry for don't believe in demons or witches that can.
It's not hard to keep spreading awareness for me because the rewards are just amazing, just enormous. There's hardly a day that goes by that something good doesn't come out of what we're trying to do.
Alive. So when I'm in the dark, I'm not afraid.
I mean, think of it. When you leave religion, you can lose your parents, you can lose your children, you can lose your family, you can lose your marriage, you can be shunned by everybody you knew.
I am scared that when I tell my family that I don't share their religious beliefs, that it is going to damage my relationship with them.
It's a very difficult thing to do. And I stand in awe of anybody who's able to do it. And it does leave a lot of scars.
Honestly, I wish it had been there when I was going through my own journey and asking my own questions. It would have been amazing.
I realized that I was gay pretty early on, but it was understood that this is not something that's acceptable, by anyone, by either one of the churches that I attended. And I had no help navigating what that should actually be.
I'm scared that they will be put off by the fact that I don't believe in their God, and that they will be more concerned with saving my soul than having a relationship.
Religion tells you that you're broken and that you're not good enough and that you are sinful, and you're not.
There's no one out there except us that I know of that will help people say, you're not the only person.
I think there was a delay or something that was going on in the video.
Was it? Oh,
But that's okay.
Oops, my other video tonight. Sorry. That's another YouTuber you should follow is Hell's Bells. not associated with me.
Well, was that?
Sorry, the other YouTube video started playing and it started coming through my speaker. I was like, no, Hell's Bells is another YouTube creator. She's just fine.
Oh.
But and I remember when they were doing all the filming and shit. So
Yeah, no, and those drone shots, Evan Wunsch, he's the one who has been filming. I hired a drone pilot, and
oh wow.
Yeah, I think there was some kind of delay, or I think probably because there's so many things going on the system, but
yeah,
that it doesn't have that delay. But just so you know.
Yeah. So, no, it was like I'm very excited. Like, even though I'm not with our recovering from religion, I have so many friends that I just absorbed. Like me and Car are still best buddies, and they're one of my ride or die friends, and Glenda and Gail and everybody. Like I do miss everybody. And through them I got to meet you. And you're also a wonderful, like I said, a wonderful sprinkle of fairy dust. So, so thank you so much for being here. I'll definitely have you back. We'll probably not talk about suicide. We'll probably talk about. I'll be back when the documentary is released. Sometime next year.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. Actually, next year will be very good because I think in this time, it will definitely be needed. So thank you so much for being here, Lindsey. Again, go check out Under the Rug Productions. Go like and subscribe, bitches, because I told you to do it. Also, if you are in need of support, even just like support groups talking about like your deconstruction, dealing with religious trauma and grief, please go to Recovering from Religion. There's so many support groups. There's so many. I used to facilitate support groups. Go do the thing. Go do it, guys. Okay. Other than that, I'm going to wish everyone a wonderful night. Thank you so much, Lindsey. I love you. I'm going to give you my address because I want a fucking t-shirt.
Yes.
I'm going to send it to you.
Okay.
I'll give you money. I will donate money to Oasis. Okay. But anyway, everybody have a wonderful night. Is there a single central location? Okay. So, RFR is mostly online. There is, okay, Lindsey, you can ambassador for RFR. Tell all the stuff that RFR can offer.
Oh,
Do
man.
that.
Let's see. Okay, so they have in-person and online support group meetings. They have, you can phone in and talk with someone. They have a Slack group, or you can chat online as well. They have the secular therapy project that goes through recovering from religion as well. If you're looking for a therapist who is secular, they will find one for you in your area. Let's see. They host different events. The fall excursion that we just went to a couple of weeks ago to film, they hold that once a year. Man, Helen, I think I got it. I think you did. Yeah, the Slack group you have to be invited into. You can't just like show up. You have to either call or chat into RFR. So it's 184. I doubt it. Or you can go to recoveringfromreligion.org. You can just go in the live chat and you can say, hey, Lindsey and Helen told me I should do a thing and join the online Slack group. And there's so many different channels. I used to ambassador all the time. So the Monday night,
the Monday night podcast that I used to help host.
Yes.
That's why I do this now. That's where I got the skills. You go to the if you go to RFRX, Kara, who is also an amazing human being, host that with Rob, who was here 2 weeks ago. So go do that and go watch podcasts on Monday nights and learn a bunch of shit, because they have a bunch of different tasks talking about anything from, sex to science to trauma to different types of religious beliefs and, people's deconstruction stories and all that type of stuff. So go there. So do that too. And go to if you go to Recovering from Religion
.org
YouTube channel, go see that. You'll see Lindsey there. And also there's support groups, and there's a whole calendar for that. You can join those on Meetup. Go to meetup.org, put in Recovering from Religion, and guess what? They're not status. If you happen to live in Phoenix, Arizona, but the Houston group meets at a time that works better for you, you can join the Houston group. You can do that. So I don't even volunteer for them anymore. I get shelled.
I love it.
Because it is a wonderful organization like that. I do miss it, but like it is like I still tell people go there, go to RFR. They're all wonderful people. Go do that. Go and
I still tell people about the support group that I used to be part of, but I'm no longer.
Yeah, see? Because it's a cult, but it's a fun one. It's a cult that actually does good work. So go join Recovery. Go to Recovering from Religion. You can volunteer. They're always looking for volunteers. You should fill out an application if you want to volunteer for RFR. And you can say, Lindsey and Helen told me I should volunteer. So there's that. Yep. All right, so we did our shilling. So now we can leave. So good night, everybody. Thank you for being here. Next week, what do I have? Jason Freeman's going to be here on next Thursday, talking about a whole bunch. He's going to be talking about the new project that he's doing with his new therapy group, and going to talk about issues that men have in this community. And Tamara Buchanan, who Kelly told me to have on the show, was raised in a cult, and she's going to talk about her deconstruction experience. She'll be here on Tuesday. So I have 2 shows next week. Please show up, like and subscribe. Also share, ring bells if you so desire. I will see you all next week. Stay kind, stay skeptical, give someone a compliment. I will see you here next Tuesday, everybody, at 7 p.m. Good night, everybody. Bye. Bye. Oh, I'm going to play my trailer. No, I'm not going to play my trailer. I'm not going to do it right now. Bye.